Hey friends, Zen Tuna here. I'm going to show you how to use sticks of a variety of lengths and ring for your isometric practice. So let's get started. We'll begin with just a simple short stick. So you can see how small that is. It'll fit in a bag. You throw it in the back of your car. You can always have it with you so you can knock out some good dynamic tension or isometric isotension movement. Now, you can also use it as a Tai Chi ruler. There's all sorts of things you can do. With my equipment, I find many different ways to use them in alternative ways. So, let's begin with that you don't need any equipment at all to do isometrics. So if I wanted to do what I'm about to show you with nothing, I could take my hands, put it in sort of a prayer position, and press inward for 6 to 8 seconds. I could vary the dimensions of where it was. I mean, in other words, I could be out here and pressing in. I could be up overhead and pressing. I could press upward as I'm continuing my press. So that's with no equipment at all. Then, if I interlace middle fingers, for example, I could do just the opposite. I've been pushing in, I could pull apart. If I rotate and get some of this, I could also be getting some oblique work going on. So there's many different ways that you can do movement or do exercises isometrically just with body weight. So in other words, if I want to do a curl, right? If I wanted to do a tricep extension, I could do it without any equipment at all. But if you can get a stick, and you look around your neighborhood, even if you live in the city, there are trees, and oftentimes they're pruning the trees. So ask them for a limb, take a limb, and there's your isometric stick. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to start down below. I'm going to show you a way of press in. So you've got certain muscles engaged now, but as you continue your pressing and you move the stick higher, you'll find that you've got other muscles that are engaging. Now you could then begin to move it away from you. You could turn the stick. Now, of course, any of these positions I'm showing you, you could do just by themselves without the movement. Then you can bring it back in. You can start bringing it down. And so that was a 30, maybe a 60-second even contraction. So shake that out a little bit. And if you're just watching, it doesn't look like you're doing anything on video, I know that. But if you really learn how to contract your muscles, which will enhance all of your other weightlifting, Indian club slinging, and anything else, you'll be amazed at what you can do with just a stick. So we were pushing the stick together, now we can pull the stick apart. So let's just start up higher, and we'll pull as strongly as we can. And then again, to add a little diversity to the process, continue pulling, clear the head, and bring it down behind the head and over again. And if you wanted to, you can see there, lost my grip. If you lose your grip, get it again, get a grip, and pulling up. And every one of those positions I'm in could be an individual or independent isometric move. In other words, I just take it and only pull from there. I could take it here and only push from here. I don't have to put the movement in with it, of course. Now, I want to show you though, if you have a ring, and this is a simple gymnastic ring, you can get them in wood or steel, and I use the wood ones myself. I like the feel of it. You can get them on Amazon. I'll put down in the description where to get them. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do with this. So we can take this and get a movement where I'm pulling with this arm, pushing with that arm, all right? Now, if we're using a stick, you'd see that I wouldn't be able to get quite the same movement that way. You could do something with it though, and it wouldn't be a bad move. It's just that you want to remember that in your movement practices, in your physical training practices, you want to use lots of different equipment and do them in lots of different ways. So you've got a broad portfolio of movements, or a big catalog of movements that you can do, all right? So if we take here, again, we do that pull and a push. Now when I'm doing that, certainly I'm getting something up in here, but I was feeling it all the way down into this side of my body where my straight arm was. Okay, feeling the lats even get engaged with it. Right. What about if we put our hands on the inside? So put our hands on the inside. If you pull this way apart, it's going to give you some muscle groups working. I'm not going to go into all the individual muscle groups. If you turn your palms up, it's going to be different. If you turn your palms down, it's going to be different, right? You can put one up, one down, both up, alternate. So these are all ways you can do it in close. You can do it farther out. And so for those of you that do Wing Chun, for example, you could isometrically hold in many different positions to get your practice going on, okay? So one of the keys is when you're using isometrics is don't get stuck in just standard exercise positions. Do it in lots of different ways. Another area to work with isometrically that will start to get more of your posterior chain engaged is when you start getting into the back. So if you want to be humbled, notice how little contractile ability you have when you put something behind you. So back here and push. Now it's easier to pull while you're in the back, but if you start working on getting into the back into a pushing, squeezing together, you're going to find lots of areas of weakness, and you want to strengthen those weaknesses because remember, the weakest link controls the chain. So get right, get quick. All right. Now, if you want something a little bit longer, so here's a 36-inch oak dowel or round. I got it out at Lowe's. I just sanded it down, oiled it, and it's good to go. So this gives you a little bit more width to pull with. You can also put it down onto the ground, push down. You can put it in an angle, pull back. There's many, many different positions you can do your isometrics. Remember, be creative. You can just do simple angles of movement. And the key is to get your joints and your body moving in all sorts of different ways under pressure, working in a vast diversity. So I'm going in, I'm going out, so I can take one arm going forward, one arm coming back. Great for the forearms, great for your grip. Okay. Now, if you have a longer one, so this is just one of my martial arts staffs, 48 inches. So you can take it, just push down with it. You can hold two hands, push down. And when you do, you're engaging glutes, your legs, you're wrapping the legs. So it's not just the obvious muscles that are being used. You're using many, many muscles in isometrics if you do it correctly. All right. So pushing it in, pulling it apart. You can also go to try and break the stick. So all right, so staff or a stick of some sort and ring. Now, if you haven't used rings much before, you notice that I have an entire series of movements that I do with the rings that are for mobility. So you can use this ring for your mobility work, you can use it for your isometric work. It serves multiple purposes. And in a pinch, let's face it, any of these things could be a weapon. I mean, you know, open your minds when you're working. Mindfulness when you're working out, when you're playing out, when you're doing your movement practices. Make it a great day. Remember, you're the guru, and if you're not making it fun, that's on you.